Mega Man X. I am probably better at this game than I am at any other game in existence. And that's kind of sad since I'm still not good enough to finish what I wanted to do for this game. So, this was my goal. Play Mega Man X1, obviously. Play it without using any weapons, or armor upgrades, or sub-tanks, or hard tanks. Start on the hardest level of the game, and best, and to not take any damage. I flubbed on that last part due to no small effort on mine, and this is a password to enable me to get to the fortress levels without having the dash boots, which is otherwise impossible. So, here we go. Let us begin the first fortress level and the most problematic. This level is horrible. It's also fantastic. It is a tribute to how fantastic Mega Man X's level design is that I was able to play this level for about 6 or 7 hours before it started to get tedious. It's divided into roughly 9 segments. Just how I mentally divided. You got this part here where you find a bunch of the damage soaking. Guys, fun fact, I didn't realize those were turtles until this playthrough. I always thought they're like octopuses with the missile things where their eyes and then their heads where their beaks. No tentacles. The highlight of this section is Steve the purple spike guy. You see that he doesn't hurt you if you go near him. So I imagine that he is rebelling against Sigma's forces, and he revisits you. Bye, Steve. This is what I think of kind of the third section. You got a lot of really tight enemy projectiles. They shoot everywhere. I like to kill that guy first. That makes it easier. And then, yeah, got to rapid fire this guy. He has 3 attacks. One of them will hit you standing up there. It's the upper missile. And then rapid fire this guy before he can hurt you. And then this little segment is really the only trivial part of the level, and even then I almost managed to screw it up right there. Just kill those guys, it's easy. And then here's a cool little thing you can do. By climbing up on the walls, and if you have the dash boots, then you can jump to the other side of the room and enter the gate without touching the floor, in which case you can skip the entire upcoming cutscene, which could have been incredibly helpful for reasons which are obvious. Namely that I had to watch it somewhere around 100 times, probably more. A lot of interesting little things to pick up on while playing through stage over and over again, how you can jump up that in one jump. I really like the red background that kind of unveils itself as the stage progresses. And I love this scene, even though I hate it now. It is really, this whole segment is really well directed. You have to take damage here, so this isn't the problem. I managed to delay this boss fight, this little mini boss fight spectacularly a couple times, upwards to like a minute. Just jumping, dodging his little punches. There's one move he does that's impossible to dodge, obviously. Zero's heartrending sacrifice here, probably one of the defining moments of 20th century culture as a whole, really. That was a joke. And now Vile. This is problem number 1 of why I did not complete my no damage run. I managed to narrow it down to 3 hits, 1 on each of the bosses. Vile is the hardest one. In all of my time I spent on this game, I got past Vile 23 times, which only sounds like a lot. So, he's incredibly fast, and when you don't have the dash boots, the only way to really beat him is to be jumping continuously towards his face instantly, because that's the only way to dodge all of his moves. Except, you have to jump just high enough so that he jumps towards you. See, there I took a stupid damage there. That's one I could avoid. You have to make it so that if he jumps towards you, you can still double under him and not. So it's a very specific height of jump. Except, if he shoots those yellow things, then the second one, if you just jump up, it'll kill you. It'll absorb you, and then you have to take damage. So, if he shoots the yellow thing at you, then you have to not jump, in which case, if he goes for the bomb attack, because you have to be keeping your distance, then either you have godly reaction time, or you're screwed. I was usually screwed, so most of the time I was relying on good luck to get through that fight. This part is really difficult for reasons which should be obvious. Usually I'd very carefully inch my way through it, since by this point I had just thrown my hands up in the air and said, screw this, I'm just going to put this online. I was a little careless there, and now I'm being a little more serious. Just gotta get through the laser beams. It doesn't help that thanks to Fraps, I couldn't see the lasers because they were flickering. Alright, this is probably the part that everyone was thinking of when I mentioned this. This actually isn't that hard, because none of it is based on split-second reaction time. Everything in this little section can be conquered with a hearty knowledge of how the respawn mechanics work and persistence. And really, this part didn't kill me as much as Boomer Kuwanger did, which is weird because I never thought he was a hard boss. But trying to beat him without taking any damage or using his weakness is kind of a bitch. So yeah, those guys don't respawn, so just wipe that guy. It's just all about careful precision on this part. One thing I always try to do is to trigger this guy while he's on the left, jump, then quickly climb up and shoot him. That's the easiest way to get through him. Then just, you see, the secret to this whole segment is that the fully charged shot can kill enemies that are above you, and I screwed it up there, obviously, but once you know that, it makes the rest of this pretty easy relative to the hell that comes before and after. So, the hardest part of this level for me has been Boomer Kuwanger and especially Vile, for some odd reason. So, I take another hit during this fight. I'll show you where, but yeah, he's way tougher than I thought he was going to be. It's so weird, because all of his attacks are carefully telegraphed. The only problem is when he is right there, because then he'll usually hit you as you're jumping off. So I always try to stay roughly in the middle, so that if he shoots... See, that was stupid. I should have stayed on a little bit longer, and then he wouldn't have hit me. That's the infuriating thing about this, is that aside from Vile, everything should be solvable. Everything makes sense, and it's just my lack of skill that's holding me back from beating this without taking any damage. And I'm going to try this again at some point sooner, but the amount of time I sank into this over the course of this week, and the reason I'm posting it at 12 o'clock on Saturday night, unlike usual, it's not just procrastination, it's because I spent the entire week playing this game. I had 15 hours and 20 minutes of footage recorded, mostly for this level. And by the way, this level and the next level, they were recorded separately. I edited them together. Keep that in mind. I am not that insane in advance. Alright, this part, the Mets, if you quickly turn away and then immediately turn back, they'll usually sprout up, which really helps. The respawn rates on all the Steves is probably the hardest part to deal with. Oh, see, I'm just being really careful here, because I want to beat the level without taking any more damage. This guy's being kind of a pain. See, they keep respawning. That's the real tough part about the Fortress stages and Mega Man X1 as a whole, is that they really up the respawn rates. For the rest of the game, it's pretty manageable, but for little parts of this, it reaches Ninja Gaiden levels of just... Look at this. This is bonkers here. What is that? It's just chaos. And whatever. So then we get to Bow Spider, and Bow Spider, to what my 8-year-old self I'm sure would be aghast to hear, is pretty much piss easy. I take one hit for stupid reasons, but I have zero problems with Bow Spider. I can read that web. It's not hard for me. Whatever. The babies are the big distraction. Just not really any damage to them hitting you, except that they'll distract you from reading the web. And the web's easy to read. The web is easy to read. Bow Spider is the easiest boss of this level, for me at least, and it's definitely the easiest of the Fortress stage bosses. Sorry if that angers you. Okay, there we go. See here, I love how the red background worked in this level, because it keeps getting gradually unveiled. So you see a little bit of it before you fight Vile, and then it's completely revealed by the time you get to this level. Bow Spider's vulnerable to shotgun ice, so you can deal a good chunk of damage with some, that was just sad. So you can deal a good chunk of damage with a charged sled right on top of him, which is easy to do. Bow Spider's not hard. It's everything else. So that's Sigma Stage 1. That is the level that defeated me. And I'm sorry I did not get to see Mr. Perfect, but that's it. It is now 11 o'clock. I spent another hour trying to do it at 10. I give up. Sorry. I'll probably actually try to do a whole Let's Play of this challenge later on, just because for the first 6 hours or so, this was really, really fun. But the fact that I tried to squeeze it all into 1 week was stupid. And I probably wouldn't have done it if I tried again. It was just squeezing it. It's fun, but I played like 9 to 5 in the morning on Thursday, and that's just silly. So that's when video games start feeling like existential crises. Like, what am I doing with my life? I'm spending so much time playing 2 6-minute levels in a video game. So this part's easy. You start off with that little simple moving platform segment, bunch of bats, whatever. Then you start off with the easiest Maverick, Chill Penguin. Since this level was a lot less challenging in general than Sigma Fortress 1, I do a little extra something to help make it a little more interesting, so we'll get to that in a sec. Chill Penguin is as easy as ever, no fire wave, but who cares? He's the first guy most people go for. I generally... Oh, this is the worst thing he can generally do, is to freeze those things and then jump up in reverse, because that can cause problems. So you generally want to be shooting Penguin out of the air so that he doesn't get up right underneath you, because that's where you can run into problems. Otherwise, everything about him is easy to dodge. The end, Chill Penguin. So the next segment would be totally trivial, assuming I went for the ride armor, which I didn't. You see, I was inspired by this guy called Height of Beast. He made one of these run-throughs for all 6 main series Mega Man X games, including 6. So he's crazy. And this is the only part where I substantially improved on his run-through. I figured out a pretty consistent way to beat this segment. That is the coolest jump in the world. But see, if you just lead that guy through, then he will usually do that and hit him with those charge shots in that formation. It's very, very tricky and very hard to figure out consistently. Their AI is not built for fighting X outside of the ride armors. And I don't think it was play tested with that intent at all. That is breaking the game. So if you want, God, this is silly right up here. I'm just nervous since I beat that ride armor section, which is not easy. This part's simple. It's just a matter of dodging all these little projectiles. Keep in mind all of this is relatively simple. This jump's annoying, but it never killed me, although I was waiting for it to at some point. Then we get to one of the easier but definitely coolest Mavericks in the game, Storm Eagle. He's my personal favorite in the series, I believe, and of course his stage music helps that. You notice the stage background has morphed completely to sky by this point, because you've gone onto the floating island. That's what happens at the start of the first Fortress stage, is that you climb up onto the side of the island where Sigma's Fortress is. And I really loved how they staged this whole game. This one and Mega Man 2 feel like full stories more than any of the other Mega Man games, and that's something I really respect about those 2 games. Mega Man 2 had that whole atmospheric build-up before the final Wily fight. It had the great Wily 1 song, and then it had the really eerie Wily 2 song. This game has that whole first stage, which is absolutely brilliant. I should have mentioned that more. Going into that stage in depth was the best thing I could have done to appreciate just how brilliant everything about Mega Man X1 is. This is one of the best games ever made. It's my favorite Mega Man game. Even though I've been trying to kill my fun of it for so long, it is fantastic. And doing this challenge has really helped me experience that, and I'm really glad I did it. I just wish that I'd spread it out more. Then we have one more little trivial segment where you need to deal with some really wonky respawn times. Just trick those guys, hit them from the back. That's the general strategy here. Watch out for this bat. That killed me once. That was frustrating. Or rather, damaged me. Next we have this segment here. And now we come up on Rangdapangda, who is much more challenging than Bow Spider, at least when you don't have weaknesses to help you along. And everything about him is pretty dodgeable, except when you get a red light on your side. That's why I try to stay on the wall next to the eye, because if he gets a moving red eye, then it is very difficult to dodge it if you're on the ground. So I try to stay on the wall. And the ideal situation is to destroy the wall on one side and make sure you're on that side, or destroy the eye on one side. That's the only way to make it completely safe. I'm watching carefully here. I usually get at least one red eye. Alright, so there we go, killed it. Now I'm going to try to shift. When he comes at you from that side, you can jump over. You just have to be near the top, of course. And then once one eye is dead, it's all red eye from there on out. Be very careful not to kill the nose, because I didn't try it much, but fighting off the eye without taking damage while the walls are closed in might as well be impossible, so don't bother. Oh, crud. There we go. See, once you're on the other side, it becomes instantly completely easier. Alright, I'm not even going to shoot the nose here. I don't want to risk blowing this run. So I'm just going to wait, and then blow up that eye. There we go. Alright. Now it's just one, because the nose can move left or right, and that's the only real problem. So, yeah, that's the closest I got to a Mr. Perfect run. Minimalist, Mega Man X1, Sigma Stage 1 and 2. I tried really hard. That's why I sound kind of defeated and less positive than usual. I'm sorry, but, well, I'll leave you with one of my favorite songs in the game, which does not get enough appreciation. That is lovely.